using to relay the information. So let's get some people to give me some examples of what different mediums that you can use. Email? That's a good one. Say it? PowerPoint? That's a good one. Anybody else? Present? That's a good one. Tableau? What was that? Tableau. Okay. Video. You get one more from the back. One more from the back. I didn't hear you. Quizlet. Okay, that's a good one. So there's many different options, right? So when it comes to a medium, you want to consider your options. You want to make sure that what you're using is applicable to the audience. So let's say if I'm presenting to a group of employees at TI, and we're talking about a new chip for a defense contract. Well, I'm going to bring something visual. I'm also going to have something on the board. I might even bring the chip as well, plus a handout for them to take notes, because it's technical, right? So I'm considering the audience, and I'm considering what they're going to need in order for them to really grasp the message that I'm trying to give. Another one is including, a good thing is including Q&A. Q&A isn't just something that you have here at the end of your slide, so then people can ask you questions about what you just told them, and then you can pretend that you actually know what you're doing. Q&A is a good way to interact with the audience, and that's just another medium or another way to just help with recall, as Ann talked about, and just make sure that you as a presenter are relaying the message in a clear, concise way as well. Another great thing to do is to layer your communication efforts. So I work in an accounting firm, an accounting office, and we've just been having major projects left and right. So this is busy season for accountants, right? So whenever we have like a new client that comes in, or we're about to meet up with a prospective client, if we're not all on the same page, we might miss a beat. If we have a client come in and nobody knows, hey, this director is meeting with this client, then we're probably gonna have a client walk in and they don't have anybody to talk to. So how you layer communication efforts in that situation is to email the person that's going to be meeting with the client, and then on top of that, let's say the next day, send them an invitation for a calendar invitation, and then also go up to them in person. Be like, hey, remember you're meeting up with that client tomorrow. So that's a way to layer your communication efforts. Make sure there's multiple ways, make sure you're touching every single beat. So in a busy office setting like that, you're not missing anything. We have a video here of Elon Musk, and in this video, you're going to see him presenting his new Cybertruck for the first time. And I just want y'all to pay attention to not just the way he's presenting it, but the different mediums that he's using. And we'll talk about it a little bit more afterwards.
Welcome to the Cybertruck unveil. We created an exoskeleton. Nice. Now I have the Cybertruck. Let's show the glass demo. So first this is regular glass. This is like normal glass, car glass. I want to show you what happens with normal car glass. Now I'll show you Tesla armor glass. Yeah. Yeah, so still learning. Yeah. All right, Franz, could you try to break this glass, please? Yeah. Sure? Yeah. How much fight you got? Well, maybe that was a little too hard. Should we try them? Sorry? It didn't go through. So that's a plus side.
Let's try that.
Okay. Try that on, really? Okay. Sure. It didn't go through.
All right, so you can see there that it was a failed attempt. It didn't go out the way that they planned it to. But Elon Musk he's a pretty relaxed presenter. So I'm guessing, I'm not there, but I'm guessing most of the audience were still impressed and just kind of captivated by what he was doing either way, because it's Elon Musk. We wouldn't. So that is not a good example of what you should do whenever it comes to presenting, and especially when it comes to your media. You want to test everything you're going to be using in your presentation, because you saw in the video the guy that he asked to throw it, he looks at him and is like, "Are you sure? Really? Should we do this?" That tells me that they probably didn't test it enough, or he saw something that Elon didn't see when it came to throwing the glass. The first time when they dropped it from the tube, just went straight down, it worked. But maybe this time they didn't really go through all the steps that they needed to in order to make sure that it wasn't going to goof up on stage. But it did give us a funny video, right? So we all got a laugh out of that, so that's still good. One other don't is don't overcomplicate or oversimplify. So we can go back to the example that I used with the TI employees. In that situation, if I were just to bring basically nothing to the stage to present this new chip that we're going to use for a defense contract, well, the engineers are all going to be like, what are we supposed to do? They're smart still. You know, they'll be like, so what is this? What are we supposed to do? Like, we need to know more about this. We need some examples. You have to give us something. We have to work on this, right? They have to test it. So you can't just go up there and just talk about it. You got to give them something more. So in that case, you want to make it a little bit more technical. Now let's say if I was a supervisor at a Starbucks and I'm just telling my employees about a schedule change. I'm not going to sit them down for 10 minutes, maybe 20 minutes, with a PowerPoint presentation, a pamphlet, and then also, like, you know, maybe we might have a surprise guest come in. That's just too much. That's way too much whenever you're just talking about a schedule change. All what you really need to do is just probably tell everybody, hey, we're changing the schedule up a little bit, and then put something on the board, or the company board, that shows the different times. So you don't want to overcomplicate it. You don't want to oversimplify it. You want to use the right amount for whatever you're going to be presenting. So lastly, I would say, don't forget your audience. I have an example for that. So again, I work for an accounting firm. I just got started with them. And I met somebody at my church that needed tax help. Their last accountant dipped out on them last minute, so they have 2018 taxes that haven't been filed yet. So they're talking to me about this, and I'm all excited because I'm new. I'm like, hey, you can come work with our firm. We can do your taxes for you, and I can work with you. And they're all excited, and they actually did. So we set them up an appointment. They come in. I see them. I'm all excited to see these guys. So I'm going up to them like, hey, what's up, bro? Hey, but I forget that I don't normally act like that a lot. So I have the CEO, the other tax director over there, and they're just looking at me like, who is this guy, right? And so we get into the meeting, and it finally clicks to me. I'm like, oh wow, I think a little too like, you know, myself right now. I need to tone it back in. But I realize, even within the meeting, we're talking about a lot of technical things that have to do with accounting, and I realized the people that came in for this appointment, they don't know much about what we're talking about. So I'm going off left and right about, hey, this is a good way, this is a deduction here, you can do this here, and they still don't understand it. Luckily, my experienced boss has a little sheet that she also brought to the table that gives you all these different deductions and things that you can take off. And just, it's easy for them to look at and they're like, oh, I get this, I get this, I get this, I get this, I get this. So I made a mistake of not paying attention to my audience. audience. My audience wasn't just the client, my audience is also my employer. So you want to make sure that what you're delivering is key to your audience and it doesn't, one, distract them and also take away from the impression that you can leave to them as well. That's the end of that. I'm going to pass it on to Dylan to wrap it up for us.
All right, y'all, just to wrap it up, we're just going to re-go over everything that we went over today, y'all. So, some of the 5 ways that we can use to improve our presentations: implement the AIM method, which I told you about earlier; hook the audience's attention at the beginning, start with the conclusion; structure the presentation to engage the audience; improve your recall method so that people can retain the knowledge that you put out there; and then consider the medium that you're putting out, like Quizzy just said. You know, whether you're using email, a memo, a PowerPoint, whatever you want, whatever medium you use, make sure it's structured for that message and for that audience. Now, to finish it off, y'all, we're going to go ahead and we're going to finish up with a little activity real quick. So if you look up here and if you look at the very back of your packet, you're going to have one last QR code. Everybody's going to be included in this activity, so if you were listening and paying attention, go ahead and scan that QR code. We'll all be walking around again to help you out. What you're going to be able to do is we're going to have a little survey and a few questions on there. There will be a reward prize for the end of it, so make sure you're doing your best on it. So everyone go ahead and start that, and then if you have any questions, whenever you're done working on the QR, working on the activity on the QR code, we're open to answer questions just whenever you're ready. And while we're walking around, we're going to help you out. If you have any questions?
Okay.
All right, y'all. I don't know. Good?
Yeah.
Good back here? Good, good. Everybody got it over here, y'all? I'll give it a go. Any questions? Everybody got it over here?
Oh yeah, this is an individual effort, so
Oh.
you're all competing against yourselves.
Yeah, so you're competing
each
against
other.
yourselves. Like I said, there is a prize, so it's not for the team, it's for individuals.
Oh.
Yeah, if you read the instructions at the top, it'll give you an idea of what's going to be.
Mine didn't work with
Oh, I did the wrong one.
All right, everybody finishing up? Everybody almost done over here? Almost done. Awesome.
Last question.
Yeah, what's up?
Oh, no, I'm saying I'm on the last question.
Oh, you're on the last question. Cool. No, yeah, take your time, y'all. Everybody else good? Okay, I think we're a little bit over. Do you mind if we get a couple extra minutes so we can answer some questions? All right, y'all. Well, everyone else is finishing up. We've already finished. If you have any questions for our group, we're ready to answer questions if anybody has them.
That was really cool how you did the little QR code.
Oh, thank you.
How
Yeah.
did you do that?
So I'll leave that up to you. Wesley showed us how to do that one right there.
Yeah, the QR code, Google has a little app called QR Generator. And so all you do is just you take whatever site that you're working on. You can even make it a picture, and you put it in there, it'll generate QR. You just make it a little short, and then download the picture and apply it to whatever you want to.
That was really effective. That was really good.
I'm gonna ask.
Question Becker?
What is the takeaway from your presentation so we can keep with us? Like,
The biggest takeaways are going to be on your little pamphlet. We put all the biggest do's and don'ts of those 5 methods right there. But what I think is the most important is implementing. Just make sure before you even start your presentation, just take a look at all 5 of those things that we said and use them before, during, and after your presentation to first create it, to write it, and then to revise it. And make sure you use that in editing your peer evaluations of other people's presentations as well.
wonderful. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And the answers are right here, so.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank
All right,
you.